Hi there, this is Renee Wulff. I am a part of the Spring 2020 EDU 07 group, and I am going to be talking today about the tool Peardeck for our Screencastify. As our classrooms continue to evolve, it is super important that our instructional practices change and adapt to better engage learners in the classroom. Peardeck is a lecture tool that it can be used to create active learning opportunities during a lecture or mini lesson. Before exploring the tool Peardeck, I think it's important to think about the lecture and instruction as a whole. Carter 2014 found that student attention spans concluded that our students can typically sustain attention for about 8 to 14 minutes at a time. So for the purposes of this screencast, I'm going to assume that Peardeck will be used for a 5 to 10 minute mini lesson around a specific topic an educator wants to use to enhance learning in the classroom. There are two key components that enhance the classroom learning experience through the use of Peardeck. First, Peardeck forces engagement by offering interactive questions for students as they work through the mini lesson. Second, Peardeck provides the teacher with the tools to use the data collected from student responses to guide instruction for future lessons. Both engagement and the use of student data will be explored throughout this screencast. To begin, we will go from the beginning, which is accessing the Peardeck tool as an instructor. To access Peardeck, the user will go to peardeck.com and create a username and password. So right here, you see the main page for peardeck.com. As a teacher, you would click the teacher login button, and that would take you to this home page. Presentations can easily be uploaded from PowerPoint or Google Slides. However, for the purposes of this video tutorial, I am going to create a presentation using Peardeck and the Peardeck Google add-on. The first step is to click create a presentation. So that's up here in the left. Once here, it is important to go into the add-ons tab and click the Peardeck add-on for Google Slides. So at the top here, you'll see this add-ons tab. You click that, and then you'll be able to go to Peardeck for Google Slides add-on. What this allows you to do is to use all of the interactive tools that Peardeck has available. A slide can either be interactive or not. For instance, if you want to create a title slide, simply add the title slide that you would like when using that Google slide. If you would like to ask students a question, look to the right side of the tool and pick a question under the Ask Students a Question tab. One of the issues with the add-on is it is a bit simplified and unclear at times. An example of this when I first started using this tool was that I had a hard time knowing what the number scale looked like. I made the assumption it was a typical 5-point Likert scale. When I went to go to the presentation, it is actually a 10-point scale. It just gets a bit of practice from the teacher end of things to make sure that as a user, you know what the questions you want look like when presented to students. Everything else on Peardeck aligns exactly with Google Slides. You can add themes, change layouts, insert graphics, and more. All of your slides will automatically save into the Peardeck homepage. Once the slide is saved, it is an easy process to get students connected. Click the presentation you would like to use and click Start Presenting. So I have a sample presentation that I created. Then I'm going to go ahead and show you how to start presenting. You will see a code pop up, and students then need to go to the Peardeck student login page. They copy the code into the space provided on the student page, and the presentation will automatically start to play. So we copy this, and this is what the student page looks like once they've gotten their student login set up. They copy the presentation code, and then a presentation will pop up. This is completely controlled by the presenter. Students will only see slides if the presenter moves forward or backward in the presentation. The student engages with content through the various Peardeck questions asked, and all responses are recorded. There are 6 tools used for the data collection: multiple choice, number, text, web, draggable, and drawing. The importance of this data collection is how it is used to formatively assess where students are at in their learning. According to the ISTE standards, technology that can be used to check students' progress is a key component to successful technology integration. This is where teacher craft comes in. To access data, the presenter will end the presentation and save it by giving the presentation a title. For the purposes of this presentation, I actually have a professional learning presentation that I had done that has 24 teacher responses. So you'll see that in a moment. Once the presentation is saved, the teacher can access the teacher dashboard. That includes all responses. A sample I am using is from the professional learning day that I had on differentiation. We were learning about differentiation and used Peardeck as a technology tool that teachers could take and apply to their own classrooms. And looking at the 24 teacher responses data, it is clear that teachers do understand the basic definition of differentiation, using Danielson's work for differentiating content, process, or product. Several teachers commented in the last reflection statement on the importance of pre-assessment to know how to or what to differentiate. As an instructional leader, if I were to use the data I collected from Peardeck, the next step for me would be to provide the staff learning on assessment types within a differentiated model and how to use things like pre-assessment to guide differentiated work. If I had not collected the data from Peardeck, I would never know that the teachers were interested in learning more about using assessment to differentiate. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what student data can look like. This is from obviously a teacher's perspective. So this is the staff responses. And you see here, this is what the teacher's dashboard looks like. So each teacher that responded has their own page that can be looked at. There are some that come together, so I'll show you here. I like this page because it shows you the continuum of where a teacher's comfort level is at when it comes to the definition of differentiation. So as you can see, my staff is kind of all over the board with their comfort level with differentiation, which just means we need to dive more into Tomlinson's work. Here's the information that I was able to gather where I had several teachers comment on specifically using pre-assessment data to guide their work with differentiation. And this was very informative for us to guide us in our next steps with our staff. Kolb's Triple E framework does an excellent job supporting educators in the analysis of technology tools. Peardeck as a tool does not meet the threshold for a tool that is highly effective in extending student learning or enhancing student experiences. However, it is a highly effective tool for engaging students in learning. Peardeck provides students opportunities to have less off-task or distracted time during lecture and forces an increase in on-task time during many lessons. The tool has the capability of creating active and social learners because there are options to show students responses or hide these responses depending on the student preference and purpose during the lecture. Finally, there is a high level of social presence when using this tool because students have an understanding that they are expected to participate during each of the checks for understanding slides. This aligns perfectly with the ISTE student standard that encourages students to use collaborative technologies to work with one another and analyze problems from different viewpoints. As students look at the various student responses, their discussions can continue to grow and deepen related to the content, thus creating a truly collaborative experience in the classroom. One component that has not been explored so far in this video tutorial is whether or not Peardeck could be used as a tool in an online or blended setting. Due to the device-agnostic nature of the tool, it would be very easy to use this tool as an interactive lecture in an online setting. Students can use their phones, personal computers, tablets, or school-owned device to listen and respond to the teacher. The teacher would simply have to share their screen with students, and students would just need to be logged into a platform that allowed the teacher to speak with the students as they were working through the presentation. Although this tool has great possibilities, they are only as effective as the teacher designing the lessons. This tool could simply be another unused and effective data hub for teachers. if there is not a skilled educator who knows how to use student data to adjust and refine instruction. The tool itself is easily implemented by a teacher with a beginning level understanding of technology, but a teacher should not utilize this tool if there is not first an in-depth understanding of how to access and use the data to inform instructional decisions for future lessons. Thank you so much for listening to this Peardeck tutorial, and I hope that you have a great time creating your own Peardeck presentation and collecting some very informative data on your students to just engage in higher levels of instruction once you know where your students are at using this tool.